The Palace of the United Galactic Alliance was one of the grandest structures in the known universe. It stood at the center of Orcs Prime, a silver-blue planet famous for its crystal towers and floating bridges. Every day, thousands of beings from hundreds of worlds crossed those bridges. But today was different. Today, something rare was about to happen, something that made the entire throne room buzz with nervous whispers. A human was coming. Humans were not common in the galaxy. They came from a small, distant world called Earth, and for reasons most alien scholars could not explain, humans often carried a strange mix of confidence, curiosity, and stubborn courage that other species found unpredictable. Some feared humans. Some respected them. Most simply did not understand them, and today, the first human princess ever invited to the Galactic Council was about to enter the throne room. Princess Arya Solis stepped out of her sleek silver spacecraft as the landing platform lights glowed beneath her boots. She wore a formal suit made of smooth white fabric, reinforced with discreet armor plates. It looked elegant yet ready for trouble, much like Arya herself. Her long dark hair was tied back, and her brown eyes scanned the area with calm confidence. She had trained her entire life for diplomacy, but this was her first time outside the solar system. Behind her, 2 small bags hung across her shoulders. She refused to bring a large team. She preferred to walk alone. A guard approached her, a tall alien with wrapped blue skin and 4 gentle eyes. "Princess Arya, welcome to Orcs Prime," he said in a soft mechanical tone. "The council awaits." Arya nodded politely. "Thank you. Lead the way." As she followed the guard, she caught glimpses of the massive city beyond the landing platform. The towers rose like shining spears toward the clouds, connected by transparent bridges that looked like glass. Vehicles floated through the air in organized streams, moving silently. It all felt unreal. Earth was growing, advancing, learning, but still far from this. Yet she walked forward without hesitation. Inside the palace, wide halls stretched in every direction. The ceilings were painted with lights that slowly changed color, forming gentle waves. Alien diplomats stood in groups, speaking in dozens of languages. Some nodded to her politely. Others stepped back nervously, as though unsure how close they should stand near a human. Arya had expected this reaction. Humans were famous for their unusual instincts, quick reactions, and problem-solving abilities. Some called them naturally chaotic. Arya did not consider that an insult. As she reached the final door before the throne room, she saw her assigned envoy waiting for her. Envoy Vrax was small, round, and covered in soft green fur. He had 3 eyes, one on the left, one on the right, and a tiny one in the middle of his forehead. All 3 brightened when he saw her. "There you are," he said cheerfully. "I was beginning to think you got lost. These hallways confuse many visitors." Arya smiled. "I'm fine, Vrax. But thank you for waiting." Vrax wobbled side to side, which Arya had learned was his species' version of a nod. "The council is excited, nervous too. You know how it is. A human princess entering the throne room for the first time, it's a big moment." "I understand," Arya said calmly. "I will do my best to represent Earth with respect." Vrax leaned closer and lowered his voice. "Just be prepared. Some alien leaders are not friendly. They worry humans might cause trouble in the future. They will test you." Arya simply nodded. She had expected challenges. "Shall we go?" Vrax asked. "Yes." The great doors slid open with a deep echo. Inside, the throne room was vast, bright, and filled with more species than Arya had ever imagined. Some diplomats glowed like small suns, while others hovered above the ground without wings. A few had long shimmering tails. Others looked like walking trees. Rows of representatives stood on raised circular platforms, arranged in a ring around the central area. The moment Arya stepped inside, the entire room went silent. Every movement stopped. Every alien froze. Hundreds of eyes, large, small, glowing, dull, focused sharply on her. To them, she looked fragile. Too soft. Too human. Yet she walked forward with steady steps. Her posture was strong, balanced, completely sure of itself. She did not rush or hesitate. Whispers started at the edges of the room. That's a human? So small. She looks calm, too calm. Are humans really so fearless? Arya heard everything, but she kept walking. Vrax whispered nervously. Just keep going. They always freeze when something surprises them. She reached the center of the room, where a circular patch of silver flooring reflected her image. In front of her sat the high chair, where Chancellor Telvar, a tall creature with crystal horns, watched her with sharp, calculating eyes. Princess Arya Solis of Earth, the Chancellor announced, his voice echoing across the room. Welcome to the Alliance Council. Arya bowed respectfully. Thank you, Chancellor. It is an honor to stand before this council. Her voice rang clearly, and the aliens blinked in curiosity. Her tone was calm but strong. The Chancellor extended a long hand. Earth is new to the Alliance. We know little of your people beyond rumors. Some say humans are bold. Others say they are unpredictable. Today, we will see which is true. Arya smiled faintly. I hope to show you the truth through action, not rumor. The Chancellor's crystal horns glowed slightly. Very well. Let us begin the introduction session. Arya stood at the center as representatives approached one by one, each offering greetings or subtle tests. Some asked difficult questions about Earth's technology. Others asked about humans' strange emotional range. One tall, metallic diplomat questioned whether humans were too chaotic for peaceful cooperation. Arya responded with patience. She explained Earth's goals, its desire for peaceful cooperation, and its wish to learn. She admitted humans could be emotional, but also creative, hopeful, and brave. She did not try to pretend humans were perfect. Instead, she explained what made them human. Her honesty surprised many of them. When the introduction session ended, Vrax floated excitedly around her. You did great. They are impressed. I can feel it. Arya gave a soft laugh. I hope so. But Vrax's middle eye narrowed slightly. Some are still unfriendly. The Zeth Coalition, for example. They prefer species that follow strict logic. They don't like surprises. I won't give them a reason to dislike me, Arya replied. Unfortunately, trouble arrived sooner than expected. Suddenly, the lights in the throne room flickered. A deep alarm echoed through the halls. Panels on the walls flashed red. The aliens gasped and looked around in confusion. What is happening? Arya asked. Chancellor Telvar stood sharply. The palace defense grid is malfunctioning. That should be impossible. But it was happening. Bright beams of unstable force began flickering across the walls and ceiling. The air crackled with energy. A field generator in the corner glowed hot, releasing sparks. One spark shot toward a group of delegates, making them stumble back in panic. Arya instantly analyzed the room. Vrax, where is the main control panel? She asked quickly. There on the wall near the east platform. But only trained staff can operate. Arya was already running. The aliens stared, shocked by her sudden action. Humans were known for instinctive moves. But none expected her to charge toward a dangerous malfunction. The control panel was tall, filled with glowing symbols. It was written in an alien script she had studied briefly but not mastered. Yet she didn't freeze. A human mind rarely froze. The generator on the opposite side shook violently. Another spark shot out, striking a pillar. If it exploded, the throne room could collapse. Arya's eyes scanned the symbols quickly. She recognized a few patterns: emergency sequences, power routing, system overrides. She also saw a cluster of glowing red shapes that likely represented the overloaded node. She pressed 3 commands in quick succession. The system beeped in confusion. That is not the proper sequence, a technician shouted from across the room. It doesn't matter, Arya muttered. She pressed another combination. The system beeped again, but this time, the red lights dimmed slightly. The technician blinked. Impossible. She guessed the correct bypass? Arya didn't answer. She focused again, studying the energy flow diagram. It was not like human technology, but the basic principles were similar. Overload, reroute, reset. Come on, she whispered. She pressed a final sequence. The alarms stopped. The beams of unstable energy faded. The overheated generator cooled down with a long hiss. Silence filled the throne room. Then hundreds of aliens stared at her in awe. Vrax slowly floated forward, all three eyes huge. Arya. You just solved a level 4 technical cascade failure. Arya stepped back from the console, breathing calmly. It wasn't that difficult. I just followed the logic. The technician shook his head in disbelief. That type of malfunction requires 5 years of training to fix. Arya shrugged lightly. Humans learn fast. The entire room murmured. Interesting. Remarkably fast. Unexpected. Finally, the Chancellor stood. His crystal horns glowed bright gold. Princess Arya, you entered the throne room, and we froze. Not because of fear, but because we did not understand what humans could truly do. Arya bowed slightly. I only did what anyone would do. No, the Chancellor said. You did what only a human would do. Some aliens nodded, some exchanged humbled glances, and some stared with newfound respect. The ice between humanity and the Alliance had begun to melt. Vrax floated beside her, whispering happily, You showed them. Today was the first step. Arya looked across the massive throne room, at the faces that once doubted her. She knew more challenges were coming, political, personal, maybe even dangerous. But she felt ready. Earth had sent her to stand among the stars. Today, she proved she belonged. After the tense events in the throne room, the Galactic Council resumed its regular meeting. Princess Arya Solis of Earth sat on a specially designed platform beside Vrax, the small, green-furred envoy. Every delegate in the hall was still watching her closely. Their expressions had changed from fear to curiosity and some to quiet respect. But respect in the galaxy was never permanent. It had to be earned again and again. Arya knew this. She had trained her entire life for moments like this. Every challenge, every crisis, every meeting she had practiced on Earth had prepared her for the complexity of interstellar politics. She simply had to stay calm and think clearly. The council resumed with introductions from various alien species. Each delegate spoke of their worlds, their technologies, and their interests. When it was her turn, Arya stood tall and addressed the room. My people come from Earth, she said, her voice clear and steady. We are new to the Galactic Alliance, but we are eager to learn. Humans have faced many challenges on our planet, and we have learned to adapt, to create solutions, and to protect what is valuable. I hope to bring these qualities to the Alliance, for the good of all. The Council remained silent for a moment. Then, a representative of the Zeth Coalition, a species with reflective silver skin and elongated heads, leaned forward. His voice was sharp, cutting through the air. Your words are admirable, Princess Arya, but humans are untested in space politics. How can we trust that you will act logically, rather than emotionally? Arya smiled slightly. Logic is important, but so is understanding. Humans have both intelligence and empathy. We believe that cooperation, not force, leads to the best results. And when logic and empathy combine, we can solve problems in ways no single species can. The Zeth representative narrowed his eyes but said nothing. His sharpness remained a warning. Humans were still under observation. Arya noticed other delegates whispering among themselves. Some were skeptical. Others were impressed. She understood that the challenge was not only to speak well but to show what humans could do. Before the session could continue, an alarm rang through the palace. Red lights flashed along the walls. This time, it was not just a small technical glitch, it was the palace's defense system. A sudden, unexpected energy surge had triggered multiple alarms. Vrax floated beside her, looking worried. Princess, this is serious. Something is wrong with the palace energy network. If it continues, it could put the council in danger. Arya did not hesitate. Humans had faced crises on Earth that seemed impossible. Floods, earthquakes, fires, chaos was familiar to them. Show me the control panels, she said. The palace technicians led her to the central control room. Holographic displays showed energy readings fluctuating wildly. Some systems were overheating. Others were shutting down entirely. This should not happen, said one technician. All systems are monitored and stable. There is no explanation for this failure. Arya studied the panels carefully. Her mind worked quickly, connecting patterns. The surge is coming from the north grid. The feedback loop is overloading, but it can be rerouted. We need to balance the power flow across the secondary generators. That should stabilize the system until the engineers can fix it permanently. The technician looked at her skeptically. That is a risky maneuver. It has never been done before. Arya's brown eyes met his. Sometimes, humans take calculated risks. It is necessary when the situation demands it. She touched the control panel, adjusting energy levels, rerouting circuits, and initiating emergency overrides. The displays flickered, and for a moment, it seemed nothing was happening. Then, the energy surge slowed, the alarms stopped, and the room's lights returned to normal. A gasp ran through the technicians. They had expected chaos, but instead, the system stabilized. Vrax's middle eye glowed brightly. "You did it again, Princess. That was brilliant." Arya nodded quietly. "I only followed the logic of the system." The Zeth representative, who had been observing, leaned forward with a curious expression. "It seems humans have intuition, combined with quick thinking. Unexpected, yet effective." Arya smiled faintly. She knew this was just the beginning. If humans were to be accepted in the Alliance, they would have to demonstrate not only intelligence but courage, creativity, and resilience, qualities that were often underestimated in her species. The council meeting continued, but the atmosphere had shifted. Where doubt once lingered, curiosity now thrived. Delegates watched her every move, some secretly admiring her courage. Others still whispered among themselves, plotting ways to test her further. As the day progressed, Arya attended multiple discussions on interstellar trade, technology sharing, and diplomatic treaties. She noticed subtle power struggles between factions. The Zeth Coalition, the Vir Dominion, and several smaller species all vied for influence. Some representatives attempted to dominate conversations, while others quietly undermined opponents. Arya realized that intelligence alone would not earn her respect. She had to demonstrate strategy, adaptability, and leadership. Things humans excelled at in ways many aliens could not predict. During a short break, Vrax floated closer. "Princess, you must be careful. Some factions may try to embarrass you during these meetings. They will test your patience and your decision-making." Arya nodded. "I understand, but testing me is fine. I am prepared." Later that afternoon, a delegation from the Vir Dominion presented a proposal. They wanted to limit Earth's access to advanced technology, claiming that humans were untested and could misuse it. Arya listened carefully. Then she spoke. "I understand your concerns. But limiting access does not build trust, it creates fear. If humans are given guidance and cooperation, we can contribute to the Alliance without threat. Fear should never be the foundation of partnership. Cooperation and understanding must guide us instead." The Vir representative frowned but said nothing. Several other delegates nodded in agreement. Some began murmuring among themselves. It became clear. Humans were being measured not only for knowledge and skill, but for values. The aliens wanted to see if humans could act wisely, ethically, and boldly under pressure. As the day drew on, a sudden emergency interrupted the council once again. Reports came in of a minor sabotage attempt in the palace's outer sector. A security drone had been tampered with, and the energy shields were partially disabled. Vrax turned to Arya, his 3 eyes wide. "Princess, this is serious. Someone is trying to test you, maybe even provoke humans. The Zeth Coalition has been known to act indirectly." Arya's heart raced, but she did not panic. Humans were trained to think under pressure. "Show me the situation," she said. They arrived at the outer sector, where security drones were floating erratically. A section of the energy shield flickered dangerously. Palace guards were trying to stabilize the system, but their protocols were slow. Arya observed quickly. The sabotage was minor, but if left unattended, it could have caused panic among delegates and disrupted the council entirely. She took control, directing the guards and drones simultaneously. Using simple commands and clear logic, she rerouted power to the shields, corrected the drone malfunction, and restored order. By the time the council delegates arrived to inspect, the outer sector was fully secure. The aliens were stunned once again. How did a human accomplish this so quickly? One representative whispered. Humans are unpredictable. That may be why, another replied. Vrax hovered beside Arya. You've shown them 2 major crises today. The council will remember this. They are starting to see that humans are not just clever, they are brave and resourceful. Arya smiled faintly. It is not bravery, Vrax. It is understanding, planning, and action. Humans rely on reasoning when others might hesitate. That evening, the council resumed with a debate over interstellar resource allocation. The discussions were intense, and some species attempted to dominate the conversation. Pushing smaller delegations aside, Arya listened carefully, identifying patterns in the debate. When her turn came, she spoke with clarity and precision, summarizing the proposals, highlighting fairness, and suggesting compromises. Her words carried both logic and empathy. Delegates began to nod in agreement. A few even applauded quietly. Her reputation as a human who could navigate complexity and crisis spread quickly through the council. As the meeting adjourned, the Chancellor called her aside. His crystal horns glowed softly as he spoke. Princess Arya, you have handled yourself remarkably today. You have shown intelligence, courage, and patience. The Council is beginning to recognize the potential of humans in the galaxy. Quote, Arya bowed respectfully. Thank you, Chancellor. I only wish to serve Earth and contribute to the Alliance. He studied her for a moment and nodded. Remember, Princess, this is only the beginning. Challenges will continue, and some factions may test you in ways you cannot predict. But today, you have earned respect. And that is the first step. Vrax floated beside her, his eyes bright with excitement. You did more than earn respect, Princess. You made them notice humans. They can no longer underestimate us. Arya looked out at the city lights of Orien Prime, glimmering through the palace windows. She knew Vrax was right. Humans were small, inexperienced in galactic politics, and yet uniquely capable. Their courage, creativity, and unpredictability made them a force no one could ignore, and she knew that the challenges ahead would be even greater. Some species would try to test her limits, others might attempt sabotage or deception, but humans had a quality that could not be measured by technology or experience alone, their spirit. As she returned to her quarters that night, she reflected on the day's events. Humans had entered the throne room, and aliens had frozen. Humans had solved crises and demonstrated strategy, and humans had begun to show the galaxy why they were special. Arya lay down, exhausted but determined. Tomorrow would bring new debates, new challenges, and new tests. And she was ready to meet them all. For the first time, the galaxy was beginning to see humans as more than curious, untested observers. They were beginning to see humans as worthy participants capable of courage, creativity, and leadership. And Princess Arya intended to ensure that humans would never be underestimated again. The sun of Orien Prime had begun to set, casting long orange and purple shadows across the palace. The city outside the throne room windows sparkled like a field of stars brought down to the ground. Inside, Princess Arya Solis prepared for the next session of the Galactic Council. Today would be different. The day's earlier events had made it clear. Some aliens were impressed, some were wary, and some were openly hostile. Arya understood that respect had been earned, but trust had not yet been given. Vrax floated beside her, bouncing slightly. Princess, I have a feeling today will be more challenging than yesterday. Several factions are discussing a special test. They want to see what humans do under pressure. Arya nodded. Then we will not disappoint. The council session began with a discussion about resource allocation. While some species wanted to share evenly, others tried to dominate the supplies, claiming historical or territorial rights. Arya listened carefully, noticing subtle tactics, delegation pressure, intimidation, and even misdirection. When her turn came, she spoke clearly and decisively. We must consider fairness, efficiency, and long-term cooperation. Taking more than one's share may seem advantageous now, but it creates resentment and conflict. Humans have learned that collaboration benefits everyone. We suggest allocating resources based on need and contribution, not just strength or history. Her words made a few delegates murmur. A small applause echoed from one platform. But others, particularly the Vir Dominion and Zeth Coalition, frowned. Arya knew she had made both allies and challengers. Before she could continue, the palace lights flickered again. This time, the flicker was accompanied by a loud alarm. Security panels flashed red, and a voice boomed across the room. Warning, unauthorized breach detected. Outer perimeter compromised. The room erupted in panic. Delegates gasped, hovered nervously, and some even scrambled backward. Vrax hovered closer to Arya. Princess, this is serious. Someone is testing you again. We don't know if it's a sabotage attempt or a controlled test. But the Council is watching. Arya took a deep breath. Then we will treat it as both. Calm, clear, and decisive action is always the answer. She quickly led a team of palace guards and technicians to the outer perimeter. When they arrived, they saw the problem immediately. One of the main gates had been forced open, surveillance drones hovered in confusion, and the energy shields were flickering. This is more than a minor malfunction, said a guard. It could allow hostile entities inside the palace. Arya surveyed the scene. She noticed small signs that the breach was carefully orchestrated, deliberate tampering, controlled energy disruptions, and subtle misalignment of security sensors. Someone wanted to see how she would react. She didn't panic. Humans were trained to think under pressure. They relied on reasoning, observation, and creativity. She quickly directed the guards, divide into teams. One team secures the perimeter. Another team reroutes power to the main shields. I will handle the central control console. Her clear instructions calmed the guards. Panic subsided as confidence spread. Arya approached the console, analyzing the complex holographic panels. The system was designed for trained palace engineers, but she focused on the fundamentals: energy flow, power nodes, and failsafes. This section is overloaded, she muttered. If it fails, the outer barrier will collapse. Vrax floated beside her. Princess, that node is beyond repair in real time. What will you do? Arya didn't hesitate. We reroute. Humans often solve problems by finding new paths when the usual routes fail. She tapped several panels, initiating emergency reroutes and stabilizing the shield. Sparks flew, but the energy gradually balanced. The drones regained control, and the gate was secured. By the time the council delegates arrived to inspect, everything was functioning perfectly. The breach had been contained without casualties or damage. The aliens stared in astonishment. A few whispered, "Humans are unpredictable, but effective." The Zeth representative approached, his silver skin gleaming in the light. Princess Arya, your actions were remarkable. I had expected hesitation. Instead, you responded with logic, speed, and courage. Arya simply nodded. Humans learn quickly. We adapt when necessary. Despite the praise, Arya knew this was not the end. If anything, it was only the beginning. Some factions would test her limits further. Others might try more dangerous challenges. But humans had a quality that alien species often overlooked: resilience. As the evening continued, the council scheduled a ceremonial gathering in the throne room, a tradition where delegates celebrated alliances, shared cultures, and reinforced bonds. Normally, these ceremonies were peaceful, but tonight, tension hung in the air. The moment the ceremony began, a sudden disturbance erupted. Hidden saboteurs had released a swarm of security drones, programmed to malfunction and create chaos. They darted between platforms, emitting sparks and energy pulses. Delegates screamed and scattered. Vrax's eyes widened. "Princess! They are trying to disrupt the ceremony." Arya's mind raced. She assessed the situation quickly. The drones were intelligent but predictable in their patterns. Using timing, observation, and strategy, she could stop them without harming anyone. "Follow my lead," she said calmly. She moved forward, weaving through the drones, using their energy pulses against them to disable the swarm. She shouted instructions to the palace guards, directing them to contain remaining drones. Every step she took was measured, precise, and fearless. The audience watched in awe. A human, small, young, and seemingly fragile, was controlling chaos that no single alien diplomat could manage. One of the Veer representatives whispered, "She is incredible. How does a human do this?" Another replied, "Instinct, creativity, courage, something we cannot calculate." Within moments, the drones were neutralized, the ceremony restored, and the delegates safe. The palace erupted into applause. For the first time, aliens who had doubted humans were openly acknowledging their capabilities. The Chancellor, standing tall with glowing crystal horns, addressed the room. "Princess Arya, your actions today have proven that humans are not just clever. They are courageous, quick-thinking, and reliable under pressure. We underestimated you before, but we no longer can." Arya bowed respectfully. "I am grateful for your words, Chancellor. I only wish to serve the Alliance and protect its members." Some delegates murmured approval. Others looked thoughtfully at one another, recognizing that humans were a species unlike any they had encountered before. After the ceremony, Vrax floated close to Arya, his 3 eyes sparkling. "Princess, today you did more than impress the Council. You demonstrated the essence of humans: intelligence, courage, and adaptability. They will remember this for a long time." Arya smiled faintly. "It is not just about impressing them. It is about proving that humans can contribute meaningfully to the galaxy. We have ideas, we have courage, and we have the ability to act when others hesitate. That is our strength." Vrax nodded. "They will learn to respect that. But some will still try to challenge you. Be ready." Arya leaned against a balcony railing, looking out at the city below. The lights of Orien Prime shimmered like stars brought down to the planet. She thought of Earth, far away, small but vibrant. Her people had survived countless challenges on their home world: storms, earthquakes, conflicts, and yet humans had always adapted. They had always survived. The galaxy was different. Here, the challenges were larger, the stakes higher, and the risks far more dangerous. But the principle was the same: adapt, act, and never underestimate yourself. As the night grew deeper, the palace quieted. Delegates returned to their quarters, discussing the events of the day in hushed tones. Many were impressed, others were wary, and some plotted. But one thing was clear: humans were no longer a species to ignore. Arya reflected on the day. Humans had entered the throne room and frozen the council in surprise. Humans had faced multiple crises and solved them with calm, intelligence, and courage. Humans had shown that their unpredictability was not weakness, but strength. And humans had proven one more thing: their spirit could shine even in the midst of chaos. Vrax floated beside her. "Princess, rest tonight. Tomorrow will bring new tests, new debates, and possibly more challenges. But tonight, you have earned your place among them." Arya nodded. Humans are ready for tomorrow. Always. As she settled into her quarters, she felt a sense of quiet pride. The tests she had faced today had not only proven her abilities, but had begun to change the way the galaxy saw her people. The Council would continue to challenge her. Factions would continue to test humans. But now, the galaxy had a clear warning. Humans were not to be underestimated. and Princess Arya intended to make sure every species remembered that. The day began like any other at the Galactic Council. Yet a sense of tension hung in the air. Princess Arya Solis of Earth had already proven herself in previous challenges, but today, she sensed that the true test had arrived. Vrax hovered beside her, bouncing slightly in his nervous excitement. "Princess, I have a feeling today will be the most difficult yet. Some factions have been plotting. They will test not only your skill but your courage, your wisdom, and your judgment." Arya nodded, her brown eyes steady. "I expected as much. We cannot control what others do, only how we respond." The council gathered in the grand throne room, its vast crystal walls glinting in the morning light. Representatives from dozens of species filled the circular platforms, their eyes on the human princess. Some smiled politely, some observed warily, and some whispered to each other with suspicion. The Chancellor, whose crystal horns glowed softly, addressed the assembly. "Today, we will conduct a special test. It is not a debate, not a proposal, but a simulation. A controlled scenario to observe how each species responds to unexpected danger. Let all delegates be aware, this is not a game. Strategy, courage, and collaboration are required. Failure is informative." Arya's pulse quickened slightly. She had anticipated tests, but now they would be formal, structured, and high stakes. Vrax floated close. "Princess, this is the moment. Stay calm. Observe, act, and lead." The council room shifted suddenly. Holographic walls extended, transforming the room into a realistic simulation of a crisis. The palace under siege by hostile alien forces. Emergency alarms blared, lights flickered, and a holographic projection of collapsing structures surrounded the delegates. The aliens gasped. Many began issuing instructions to their teams, while some froze, unsure how to react. Arya, however, stepped forward calmly. "Stay focused," she instructed. "Panic will not help. Observe the patterns, identify the threats, and act strategically." The holographic enemies moved fast, simulating attacks, sabotage, and disruption. Delegates struggled to keep up, but Arya's human instincts guided her. She calculated paths, predicted enemy moves, and directed the delegates to positions that minimized risk and maximized effectiveness. "Veer team, cover the north corridor," she commanded. "Zeth team, stabilize the energy nodes here and here. Everyone else, follow my lead to secure the central control point." The aliens stared in surprise. Humans usually followed instructions, but here, one human was leading multiple species at once, calmly, decisively, and with authority. Vrax floated beside her. "Princess, they are listening to you." Arya did not look at him. She focused on the simulation, adjusting strategies in real time. She noticed a weak point in the defense perimeter and redirected energy shields to reinforce it. A holographic wall threatened to collapse, but she calculated the timing and ordered the Zeth team to stabilize the structure using precise energy pulses. Minutes passed. Yet to Arya, it felt like hours. Each decision had to be perfect, or the simulation would fail. But humans thrived under pressure. They adapted when others hesitated, combined intuition with reasoning, and remained calm even when chaos surrounded them. The simulation reached its climax. Holographic enemies advanced toward the central throne, aiming to capture delegates and destroy critical systems. Arya's heart beat steadily, but her mind was sharp. She noticed a pattern in their movement, predictable, despite their simulated complexity. "All teams, focus fire on the left flank," she shouted. "That is the enemy's weak point. Once it collapses, we can secure the rest." Delegates hesitated, but her confidence was contagious. Slowly, one by one, alien teams followed her instructions. The left flank collapsed under their coordinated action. The holographic threats were neutralized. The central throne area was secured. Silence filled the room. Then, slowly, the council members began to clap. Not loud, not dramatic, but deliberate, measured, and filled with respect. The Chancellor stepped forward, his crystal horns glowing a deep gold. Princess Arya Solis, your performance today has proven what humans have always possessed: courage, strategy, adaptability, and leadership. You have acted decisively, under pressure, guided others effectively, and maintained calm in chaos. This council acknowledges your abilities and the value of your people to the Galactic Alliance. Arya bowed respectfully. Thank you, Chancellor. I only wish to contribute to the galaxy and serve the Alliance to the best of my ability. A few delegates approached her afterward. The Veer representative extended a hand. Princess Arya, your guidance was remarkable. Humans are truly unique. I underestimated your species, and I admit it openly. The Zeth representative nodded as well. Humans are not merely unpredictable, they are capable of greatness in ways we cannot anticipate. Today, I witnessed courage, intelligence, and leadership combined. Vrax floated beside her, visibly proud. Princess, you did more than impress them. You earned their trust. They will never forget this. Arya smiled faintly. Trust is built slowly, Vrax. Today was one step, not the end. We must continue to prove ourselves through action and integrity. Later, she walked to the palace balcony, overlooking the city. The lights of Orien Prime glimmered like stars, brought down to the ground. The city buzzed with life, and beyond the horizon, distant planets twinkled faintly. She reflected on the journey so far. Humans had entered the throne room, frozen the council in surprise, faced crises, solved problems, and finally earned respect. Yet she knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, challenges, and species that humans had yet to meet. But humans had something no alien species could fully replicate: adaptability, courage, creativity, and heart. Vrax floated quietly beside her. Princess, the Council will now include Earth in major discussions, technology sharing, and interstellar projects. They see that humans can handle responsibility, and they respect you for it. Act, Arya nodded. It is not only my responsibility, Vrax. It is humanity's responsibility to continue learning, contributing, and proving that we are worthy allies. Today, we began that journey. Suddenly, the Chancellor's voice came through her communicator. Princess Arya, I invite you to lead tomorrow's council session. It will be the first time a human presides over interstellar diplomacy at this level. Arya blinked in surprise. Thank you, Chancellor. I accept, Vrax floated excitedly. Princess, this is incredible. They trust you enough to let you lead the council. Arya's smile was calm, but her mind was alert. Leading the council would be another challenge, a challenge that humans would meet with creativity, courage, and fairness. That night, as the palace quieted, Arya reflected on everything she had faced. From the moment she stepped into the throne room, she had been observed, tested, and measured. She had faced technical crises, sabotage attempts, and simulations of chaos. And she had succeeded not because of superior strength or advanced technology, but because of human ingenuity, courage, and determination. The next morning, she stood at the head of the council room. Delegates from dozens of species awaited her guidance. She took a deep breath. Her human heart beat steadily, her mind was sharp, and her spirit was calm. Welcome, delegates, she said, her voice clear and confident. Today, we work together to ensure the safety, prosperity, and cooperation of all species in this council. Let us begin with clarity, fairness, and respect. The aliens listened, some with cautious curiosity, others with admiration. For the first time, a human was not only participating in galactic diplomacy, she was leading it. The discussions proceeded smoothly. Arya mediated disagreements, suggested compromises, and encouraged collaboration. Her calm reasoning and ability to adapt to sudden changes earned her the Council's admiration. Even the previously skeptical Veer and Zeth delegates began nodding in agreement, silently acknowledging her skill. Hours passed, and the session concluded successfully. The Chancellor rose again, his crystal horns glowing with approval. Princess Arya, today you have done more than represent humanity. You have shown us why humans are a special species. Your courage, intelligence, and leadership are unmatched. The Council is proud to welcome Earth as a full participant in interstellar affairs. Arya bowed gracefully. Thank you, Chancellor. I am honored to represent humanity, and we will continue to work for the benefit of all species in this alliance. Delegates applauded, and some even stood to show their respect. For the first time, humans were no longer underestimated. They were recognized as valuable, capable, and unique contributors to the galaxy. Vrax floated beside her, all three eyes shining. Princess, today you made history. Not just for humans, but for the entire alliance. You have shown them what humans can do. Arya smiled. It is only the beginning. Humanity will continue to grow, to learn, and to prove that we belong among the stars. As she looked out over Orion Prime, she knew that humans had finally found their place in the galaxy, not through sheer power, not through advanced technology alone, but through heart, courage, creativity, and resilience, qualities that no alien could fully understand or predict. The humans' journey among the stars was just beginning, and Princess Arya would lead them with wisdom, bravery, and the spirit that made her people special. Today, the galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. Humans are capable of greatness, and their presence can inspire hope, courage, and change across the stars.